everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new 2022 Honda Civic Hatchback. It's just like the sedan, of course, except for the rear and the hatch. The interior is all the same, but let me show you everything about it. Enjoy the video. Please do like and sub so I can keep on bringing in cool cars just for you. Thank you to Honda West of Calgary, Alberta for letting me borrow this Civic Hatchback. If you're interested in this or anything else on their lot, the link to their website is right below that like button. Let's start off with under the hood like usual. The Sport Touring we do have is a 1.5 liter turbo engine. If you get the base version, you get a 2 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. The base engine makes 158 horsepower. Ours, the turbo 1.5T, makes 180 horsepower. It's mated to either a CVT or a 6-speed transmission that's available on all trims. It is front wheel drive. Fuel economy is great. Ours, since it is the turbo engine, we do have 6.2 or 6.3 on the highway here and 7.7 in the city. And for the American viewers, that's about 30 mpg in the city and 37 on the highway, so that's amazing. It weighs under 3,000 pounds, which is awesome as well. It's not getting heavier. And yeah, no, it's a great option. I'm not sure what I would pick, but if you're more of an enthusiast driver, the turbo is the way to go. So now let's get going on the front here. The front looks exactly the same as the Civic Sedan. I also have a video on that if you want to watch. We do have a different, more unique grille. That's more specific to the hatchback. It'll be on the SI as well. We do have full LED headlights on every trim level, LED daytime running lights, low beams, high beams, and even fog lights on the upper trims. I do like how it's just a really clean and simple looking front end. There's no gigantic, obnoxious fake vents or anything like that, so I think it looks pretty good to me. What do you guys think? Now we are moving on to the side profile. We do have, if you get a base LX trim, you would get 16-inch alloys, but since we have the top trim available, we get 18-inch wheels based on 235 series tires. I think these rims look pretty nice, to be honest with you. For a factory rim, and Honda usually does do pretty good rims on their Civic, sporty kind of trims, but yeah, they look pretty nice to me. Now the side profile, of course, it's hard to tell that it's a sedan, especially because of the rear hatch area. Rear hatches typically are more of a straight slash cut instead of this kind of making it look more of a coupified kind of look. Hey, you know what? I think it works. The Civics usually have done this now for the second generation. I know before, back in the 90s, never did, but yeah, you know, it works. I think it definitely works. Side profile overall has really clean lines towards the lower portion. But yeah, no, I love the gray color too. I think Honda calls this Sonic Gray Pearl, which in Canada here at least, you have to pay an extra $300 for. And the only free color you have is the base black color. Onto the back now, I do really enjoy kind of the light bar look in the back, and I like how it's different than the sedan. I don't know, I think the previous generation had similar lights, but these look completely different. They are partial LEDs. I do love how the integrated exhaust trim is towards that lower portion. The base is not going to have that, but the upper trims do have that. And since we're at the back, let's open up the hatch and see how much space you have. All right, so let's pop it open. Little switch over here. And once open, you can see you have a pretty nice large opening as well, which is awesome. You get 24.4 cubic feet with the second row seats up. So that's amazing. And you know, you could always push those seats downwards and you have even more space. So it's great. It's a great option if you have a lot of things you need to lug around or do a lot of traveling or whatever outdoor sports you have that, you know, requires a lot of space, but definitely way more. I believe the Civic Sedan had like 15 cubic feet in the trunk, so lots more. So now it's time to jump inside. Let's open the door. Of course, you have little switches right here that'll let you use your keyless entry. Now, let's take a look at this door panel. I think it looks fairly nice overall. The door handle looks pretty nice. There's hard touch materials towards the bottom, but the stitching right here feels very nice as well. You have your texturized kind of non-gloss black plastic material, which I really love. The window switches feel very nice. Of course, auto for the front too. And everything just feels pretty good and sturdy and firm. Now, when you move on to the inside here, let's take a look at these seats. The highest trim seats, they do get leather appointed materials. They are synthetic. Let me turn the heat down. It's freezing outside. All right, so they are synthetic. I do love the perforations here. They look very nice, the stitching as well. I think it just has good materials here. Even if it's synthetic, it feels pretty good, which I'm totally okay with, to be honest with you. And it feels very, very comfortable as well. So that is Awesome. Now let's take a look at this steering wheel. So I'm back. Here's the steering wheel. I have to switch to a different angle lens here. It's nice and small. I do really like the size of it. I hate really big steering wheels, and I think this is the perfect size for this vehicle. Kind of a nice, interesting shape here for your airbag cover. The buttons feel very nice. If you can hear those clicks, like your cruise control options here, your media controls. It is a heated steering wheel as well, which is available on the upper end trims, except for the base LX. And the stitching along the steering wheel feels very nice too, and it feels good in the hands. The one thing is though, even though it's heated, it can use getting a little bit more warmer, because it didn't get too warm while I had it on for quite a while. It was like at a mild kind of temperature, so it's one thing maybe they could, you know, work on. So taking a look at the driver's display right behind it here, it does look very, very nice. It's pretty good resolution, and it's, you know, it's great. I love how, when I showed this last time too, when you press your foot on the brakes, it'll light up the entire car here as well. Left signal, and you can see it kind of doing that. So that's really cool. When you're driving, it'll show you both the lanes coming down too. And overall, I think it's a great display. It is available on only the upper trim here, the Sport Touring trim. It's not available on like the base LX. Then you'll get a half-half kind of 50 split. Now moving on to the infotainment. Now, this infotainment is specific to the upper end trim. It is a 10.2 inch trim, or 10.2 inch display, sorry. If you get a non-sport touring trim, you're gonna get a 7-inch display. So, you know, 3 inches make the difference, man. It's also paired, because it's a higher trim, to the Bose audio system. That's a premium audio system as well, and it sounds really good, to be honest with you, especially for a Civic, you know, audio unit here. Now, regarding the infotainment, it's great. It has a newer software. It's not the old Honda Link, which I personally hate. It's really smooth. It works really well, and I really love it. It has navigation in the upper trim, and even the map itself is finally, it doesn't look like it's super old from like the year 2000 when maps were invented, probably. Just kidding. We do have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so that's awesome as well. It's a little bit fussy to kind of get started for the first time, but afterwards it's super easy going. Backup camera, once we're in reverse, you can see, doesn't look too bad, to be honest with you. Honda's backup cameras usually look like this, so they could use a little bit of improvement, but overall, not too bad. You know, you have 3 different angles as well. Shows you top down, which is a really cool angle, and then wide and kind of a straight angle as well. So, and I like how you have a volume knob, and it feels really good. It's like individually clicking, and it feels awesome. And you have hard buttons for home and back, which is awesome as well. Moving on to the lower portions, you have that same kind of vent looking, like it's a vent, but it's like all mesh kind of layout throughout the width of the interior. And you can see kind of the movement of your vents in there. So it feels pretty cool. It's a cool design as well. Over here, it's basically black plastic right over there. So it's not functional, obviously. So it's only those portions like usual. Pretty cool design. This area looks right out of a Honda Accord, to be honest with you, and I think that's a great thing, because the Accord had a great HVAC, you know, layout in my opinion. And you have your 3-stage heated seats. The buttons. Listen to the tactile feel. They feel really high quality, and I really think it looks good. And we have knobs. You know, hashtag save the knobs. You know, I gotta say it. You know, your buttons are clearly labeled out. If you move on to the lower portion, let me just show you. You have a couple of USBs, your 12 volts, and then a wireless charging pad only on the upper trim, not on the other trims as well. Now moving lower towards that, you have the same grainy kind of material. It's texturized, it's not glossy black, which I love. Your cup holders are decently spaced out with little adjusters for making them fit in really well. Your shifter, you have leather stitching right here, and it feels really good in the hand as well. Your drive mode selector, so with this you can push it forward and it'll show you them changing over here. So econ, normal, or you can be in sport mode, and gives you a nice little like red inlay of the tach and speedometer as well. So that looks really cool. Let's just leave it here for now. Your electronic parking brake and brake hold button as well. When you move this boy up, you have a pretty large center console, pretty true to the previous generation as well. So lots of space, which is awesome for like especially a smaller car. I think it's a good thing. Your center armrest, very nicely padded. Actually, it is pretty nicely padded, not gonna lie. The stitching looks great as well. And this used to be able to move forward and back, but right now I think it's a pretty good length. It already comes up pretty far ahead here, so you know, and that's not a bad thing. So as you can see, But yeah, I know I kind of went through this pretty quick here, but it's fairly similar to the Civic Sedan that I did. So if you're interested in getting a better view of the interior here, be sure to watch the Civic Sedan video, which is pretty recent as well. And yeah, I'm going to adjust my seat here. And because also we have the touring trim, we do have 8-way power adjusting seats and then 4-way for the passenger. Everything else below it will be a manual adjustment. So I'm going to move my seat to where I'll be comfortable here driving if I was going on a trip somewhere or even driving around town. And I'm going to jump in the back seat to show you how much room I got. I'll see you back there. All right, so now it's time to go into the back. Same thing, let's go in. The door panel itself still looks very great. Gloss black in a place where you really won't be touching, so that's cool. Same great feeling handle and that same kind of material. Over here, you're gonna be seeing your 3-stage heated seat button. See, the thing with that, I'm not sure if it's just a Canadian thing where they put heated seats in the back, because I know a lot of American viewers say that you don't really get heated seats even in top trim. So that's, I don't know why, but maybe it's because we're in Canada. That's why it's colder here. I don't know. Anyway, so the seat is set up pretty far back where I'd be sitting, and you can see my knees. They're kind of just a couple inches off here. I have decent foot room, but I feel like something is kind of stopping them from moving any more higher. But yeah, so it's not too bad. Because of the sloping kind of roof, my head is touching the headliner here, but overall it's not that bad. It's not like I have to bend my neck or anything. I'm 6'1" as well, if I forgot to mention. The stitching is great. You can see it on the back as well. No pocket here, but you have a driver's or passenger rear pocket over here, and a couple USBs right over here. So that's awesome to see. 2 of them as well for everybody, basically. Everybody has their own USB. You get one, you get one, you get one, you get one, whatever. The rest of your seats, same kind of trim outlays, and the perforations are all the same. The stitching is all the way back here too. It's just nice and smooth. You have a little armrest here. It's just a 4-passenger vehicle, and you can get a yeah, couple cup holders, same as my Accords. I think that they've been using this for a long time, but it works, so why not? Super plush kind of center armrest, and yeah, you know, nothing else really to say. The sunroof lets in a decent amount of light, so that's awesome as well. But overall, I got really nothing to complain about. Let's go for a drive in this 1.5T and see how she rides. So the last thing we have left now to do is the driving portion, and as always, we're going to do a little acceleration test. I got it in sport mode right now. I'm going to turn off the traction control, even though it won't make a difference. But all right, is everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, lost a little bit of traction there. It's not too bad, you know, not too bad. It's not too shabby. In sport mode, it does put the CVT up to a higher rev range, so it's going to be revving more. So I'm just going to put it onto normal mode because we're normal people. You know, one thing I was really surprised with when I was driving on the highway with this thing is how quiet it was on the inside, even though you were at highway speeds, which is like 100 kilometers here. And so, you know, I was surprised because my Accord's a little bit louder on the inside at highway speeds. But so it kind of shows you that they've been improving the Civic quality and the Civic name as well. Overall, you know, I've had this since yesterday, last night, and it's just, I have no complaints about it, to be honest with you. For the segment that it competes in, I think it does what it needs to do very, very well. It's got good equipment, good pricing, good everything, really. Only thing, I guess, since I mentioned pricing, the only thing about pricing is that it is getting more and more expensive every year or every generation. The Civic Sport Touring here in Canada, at least, it starts at, I think the MSRP is $35,000 even, which $35,000. I remember last year, or last generation, the pricing was like early 30, so 31, 32,000. So it's jumping quite a bit. I understand you have a you know, much more better quality and premium interiors, but at the end of the day, the Civic isn't meant to be you know, a luxury sports sedan or hatch. It's supposed to be you know, your economy kind of quality vehicle that you can drive around without breaking the bank or your back by working so much because you have to pay off your Civic. So, you know, it does a lot of things well, though. I have no complaints about really anything. They offer a manual transmission, which is awesome for the enthusiast. Digital gauges, the top trim infotainment is really, really well done. I don't think I've been in the lower trims with like the 7-inch display, so I'm not sure how good that will be. So be sure to check it out if that's what you're considering, but the 10-inch one is really good based on what I've used it for. And it drives really well too, you know. The sport kind of feel to it. It's got some pretty good nimble and agile handling, which is awesome. You know, the body roll isn't really too bad either, surprisingly. There's been more premium vehicles that I've driven that you roll around the place, but this kind of keeps you in place. The seats are pretty comfortable, you know, heated seats, heated steering wheel. It does everything that you really would need it to do. So I would say if you're looking into a Civic hatchback, or you need a hatchback in general, the Civic should definitely be on your list. Just because, I mean, it's always been one of the top performers in my opinion. I know the Corolla hatch is pretty good, the Mazda 3, and I'm not sure, I don't think they make the Hyundai Elantra hatch anymore, or the Kia Forte, maybe they do, but those two brands I'm not too sure about. But you know, there's always lots of good options in the segment, but overall I gotta say that the Civic hatch is a huge step up even than the previous generation, just based on the quality, the materials, the way it drives and feels and looks. You know, it doesn't have that weird look anymore that some people really hated, and it just gets me more excited for the Civic Type R. And I'll end my driving thoughts with that. If you enjoy the video, you know exactly what to do. Please do subscribe, help a brother out, so we can keep on bringing more cool vehicles, so I can show you what they're all about. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.